Hi, I'm Tashana Dixon. Ever since I could remember, libraries have been a source of comfort, and so bringing that into this whole 20% project, it allowed me to connect with the people that I've known since, I was a child, and able to see how I've grown through them and how I've seen their field and see what they love to do. And so I was prompted to put that into my work and put something that I love so deeply and show it to everyone else. We all check in once in a while to make sure we're on the right path, and we all say, we check in with each other and how far have you gone? I could use some advice, or do you know anything else that could possibly help me? So in a way, it does feel like a classroom environment, a classroom experience.
I was the kid who always had her nose in a book. Around the age of 5 or 6, I was always going to my local library. For me, reading inspires imagination and creates worlds of adventure. As I got older, naturally, I found myself trekking less and less to a place that I've come to admire. And still, I was longing for it. Once upon a time, the library was a central hub, a safe haven for the people in my community. But everything changed when the 7-Eleven attacked. I don't mean physically, they just arrived abruptly. It felt like an all-out invasion, and I felt robbed. I wanted to blame them for the lack of patrons. Instead of people spending quality time in such a resourceful environment, they were hanging out in front of a 7-Eleven doing what I do not know. So when the time came to come up with an idea for my 20Time project, I brainstormed, or more like fantasized, about gathering a group of my peers and storming the 7-Eleven to face those evildoers. I had my classmates who suggested that I host my own comic convention, where I have kids and you dress up in pointy ears and play with sticks, wield them at each other. But that plan failed to materialize. The library had its own mock Comic-Con. So where would I go from there? Luckily, I had my mentor and my teacher, Ms. Dorso, who helped me focus on the core, the structure of libraries. Librarians themselves. They are the brilliant masterminds behind it all. So halfway in my project, I had several craters, one being my mentor text. I had the idea of event planning considering my Comic-Con, but that plan had changed. Walking into the library, basically blind to what I wanted, that was not only embarrassing, but unnerving for me. When I go in the library, I usually know what I want to get. I know where I want to go, whether it be the comic section or the young adult section. But this was just a whole new territory for me. So who did I turn to? My local librarian, who suggested a book written by a librarian about librarians. And this book is titled, and I kid you not, This Book is Overdue. On the cover of this book is a female librarian donned in a bright red cape. What do you know? A librarian portrayed as a superhero. That's what stuck with me. Now on to my interview. I wanted to find an interview with a librarian who wasn't too busy at the time, and luckily I was so grateful to have one, Miss Roshetta Wilson Lovett, who, through this interview, filled with laughs, advice, and a lot of anecdotes, I learned that librarians yearn to help others. They want to see you walk out of that library with a smile on your face and a bag full of books. Well, at least in my case. 2 weeks later, I have all my blog posts, my interview, and what is my product? What am I showing you today? That answer is simple. Nothing. Time was not of my essence. It was not on my side. But what I do have for you are questions. When was the last time you went to your local library? Anyone?
2 days ago.
Nice. Anyone else? Ms. Dorso?
2 months ago.
Delphine?
When I went to go get my mentor test.
Anyone?
This morning.
Sebastian?
A week ago?
A week ago. Now, oh, sorry.
It's been probably like 3 years since I've
Yeah, me too.
Now I ask you this. What is your fondest library memory? Valerie?
Reading Pippi Longstocking with my sister.
Lynn?
Volunteering every Saturday with the reading buddy.
Fred?
My elementary school librarian letting me read a scary story that was from the 5th grade section when I was in 3rd grade.
I'm
I
sorry.
used to spend hours in the library as a kid, and I can still smell the smell of the books and the leather seats and just the ambiance of the library. It was so cozy and homey.
And that's how I feel. So after today, I implore you to visit your local library. Cherish the community. Thank your librarian. Thank you. Any questions? Hi.
Yeah, I'm interested. You talked about how the library was devastated by the 7/11. What's the state of the library in your community now? Do people use it? What's the sort of the level of vitality?
I go to the library every other day after school, sometimes if I could manage it, and I see a bunch of children, teenagers, and adults still attending it. And it warms my heart, honestly, to see that even though you have this big sign, 7-Eleven sign up there, you're still wanting to be there. You're still wanting to use its resources and be in that environment that's so serene. And that's why I'm going to continue to love it and be a part of it. Ms. Magalevy.
Did your interview give you any hints about how you might encourage more people to visit their libraries? Did the librarian have any thoughts about that?
Yes, actually the librarian, I asked her one question in my interview, what did she think would come of libraries in approximately 10 years? And she said that the library is going to stay there. It's not going to go anywhere. And I found that surprising considering technology is advancing almost every day. Karina.
Can you suggest any books I can read in the library?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I'll talk to you after. I have like a list. I literally have a list in my mind. I cannot see. Ms. Sarah.
I just want to share something that happened probably 3 weeks ago. I was working with 7th graders and they were being a little loud. They were working in small groups and I wanted them to just lower their voices a little bit. And I thought to myself, I'm about to say, use your library voices. But as I was about to say it, I thought, do they know what I'm talking about? They probably don't know. So I said, use your fancy restaurant voice. And they all knew. And I was like, that's what I just did. I didn't know if they even would know what I meant by use your library voice. So
Every book is on a tablet.
Right.